Why is it so important to make your events memorable?
It comes back to ROI, but let me go back to a 19th century psychologist named Ebbinghaus. And you maybe haven't heard of him, but you've heard of this. He studied retention. And what he learned is that people forget what they've learned forget 50% of what they've learned within an hour, and they forget up to 90% within the first 30 days of learning it without intentional methods of helping people remember. So think about that. You're putting millions of dollars, you and your customers are putting millions of dollars into the events you're creating. And if people are forgetting 90% of it, then that's a lot of effort for not very good return. So if we can do things to cause it to become more memorable, then we are increasing the chance that it's going to be more transformational in whatever sense we mean by transformation. So that's part of why it's got to be memorable, is like, we want this to stick with people. We want it to make a difference. If you're in event marketing, you want them to remember that event that you had. And through that process, remember that it was your company that put it on, right? And remember that you were part of that. And they remember the conversations they had. And all of a sudden now it's become a bigger part of their life. And of course, they're going to go to you when they have a problem in the future, as opposed to not remembering and starting all over from scratch.
What are some key characteristics of sort of differentiating your event, right? Like, I think that's part of being memorable, right? Because if you go to the same event over and over, it's not really memorable. And I mean, that's probably not that I don't like meaningful and momentous, the pieces, but memorable to me is a huge one. And I think it goes back to what you said about ROI, about you're spending all this time, all this money, all this energy, effort to put on this event for key customers, prospects, partners, suppliers, whoever it is. And it's like, why not make it stick, right? Why not make it be different, unique, have them leave and then think, and because I think it makes you think and view a company or somebody based on experience differently. You view them a certain way after. So what are some key characteristics for differentiation?
Well, let me define those two words, meaningful and momentous, because I think unforgettable and memorable you could say those are synonymous. When I say meaningful, I mean, you're making it personally significant. So you're understanding the customer journey of the person that's coming in, and you're trying to make it as meaningful for that person as you can. So it's back to that idea of you got to know your audience. And when I say momentous, it's in the sense of that. I don't know if you know the book, The Power of Moments by Chip and Dan Heath. They're Stanford professors. It's a book you should get. They've answered the question, why do some moments stand out and others don't? That's kind of their core question they were asking. And they were talking about it in a broad sense, not just within an event sense. But the power of stacking moments is something that makes something memorable. So if you have a lot of really good experiences, they're going to add up to a positive memory. But if you have a lot of really bad experiences, then it's going to add up to being something that's a negative memory. So I think that's why those two terms matter. But in addition to those two ideas, why it matters, or how do you make something memorable, is there's a couple ideas that I talk about. One is you're doing things that are unexpected. So Pete Vargas, he runs a company called Advance Your Reach, and he starts his conferences by doing something that is completely unexpected. He starts it by saying, hey, I want you to grab your phone and I'm going to ask you to do something that you probably won't do again. And I don't want you to do again, but I want you to take it. And I want you to send a message to somebody who made it possible for you to be here. Write them a text, send them an email. And I want you to send them a message thanking them for taking care of the kids or taking care of your work or whatever it happens to be, so that you can be here, and tell them that you're going to take that responsibility seriously and you're going to lean into this experience. And he did two things there. One is you show appreciation, but secondly, you've set an intent that, oh, I'm here to learn. I'm not just here to multitask. And then he caught me off guard. He did something else unexpected, because I'd been to this conference before and I kind of was planning on multitasking in the back. I was going to get some work done. I was going to do my session. But he said, and if you're sitting here and you're thinking about multitasking while you're at this conference, he literally said the words that were in my brain, I want to challenge you to put yourself into this event. You traveled here, you spent the time and the money, engage yourself and get the most out of it. So it was a personal invitation. It wasn't specifically to me, but it was for me. So he did two things that are unexpected and don't cost you anything. Like it just cost the 2 minutes that he spent on stage to say those two statements that allowed people to say, you know what, you're right. I am here. I want to see what's going to happen. And here's what's cool, Matt, is within the next 3 hours, I had two different conversations that completely changed the rest of that event. And one of them changed my life because it made me realize that I have a book in me that I need to write and I need to start getting serious about it. That was back in 2017. And so that's the kind of stuff that can be memorable, is when you do something that's unexpected, you catch people off guard. It could be way more fun than that. Our MC dressed up as Neo from the Matrix to introduce our CEO for, his keynote that was going to have a Matrix theme. That's not something that you were expecting when you walked into the room, but it set a tone of, oh, something's getting ready to happen here. That's not what I was expecting to take place. The other thing I like to talk about, I learned from Jesse Cole with the Savannah Bananas, the baseball team, is do something. You combine things that people know in their ordinary life, but doing it in a new context makes it new and memorable. And you're familiar with all the TikTok videos of the things that they do, like the batter who's on stilts or the rodeo cowboy who's a pitcher who's lassoing base runners as they're going from first to second base. Well, if we do things at our conferences that are, again, combining things that we know in real life, but doing it in an event where people aren't expecting it, then all of a sudden that becomes unforgettable. And one thing we've done musicals 5 times where we took a musical from Broadway, we wrote a parody based on that musical and we performed it. And the first time we did it was probably the most memorable because no one was expecting it. After that, it started to become expected. And they're wondering, what are you going to do this year? And we finally reached a place of we can't top it. So let's go a different direction and not do that again.